Ms. Levin, in anticipation of the prosecution's questions later, would you ever commit perjury to defend Rocky?
No.
Would you ever commit perjury for anyone?
No.
Do you understand the significance of the oath you've taken today?
Yes, I do.
And do you take that oath seriously?
Yes.
Raise your right hand for us. Thank you. You solemnly state that the testimony you may give the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. Please take this in the witness stand there. Feel free to adjust the microphone and state and spell your name for the record.
Louis Levin, Louis Levin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Levin.
Good afternoon.
Do you go by any other name than Louis Levin?
Yes, ASAP Lou.
Okay. Is this your first time testifying?
It is.
What do you do for a living?
I'm Rocky's tour manager. I also DJ, and I have a clothing brand.
And what are your responsibilities as Rocky's tour manager include?
Just doing the routing for the shows, make sure that the production staff is hired, the production is right, he gets there on time, just that we have a successful and good show.
Okay. And in addition to touring, are you also involved in Rocky's music videos?
Yes, I am.
And what does that involve?
Sometimes I'm featured in the videos, but most of the time I'm there to like help manage directors, producers, assistants, props, light, anything, just kind of a helping hand.
Okay. And how long have you worked with Rocky?
Since 2010.
When did you first meet him?
I met him in 2010 at a concert in Brooklyn.
And can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I was.
relevant just to overall. You can answer.
Yes, I was actually a fan in the crowd, and I was a fan for him for a while, and I was in the crowd. He picked me out of the crowd and said, like, "You're hype. I like your energy. Come up on stage." Went up on stage, and then after that, went backstage and met him, 12E, Bari, Ill, just all the ASAP guys.
And did you begin working with Rocky at that time?
Not right away. It was a couple months after. It was either later in 2010 or early 2011.
And what was your first position with Rocky?
I was his assistant first.
And what did that involve?
Just like assistant tasks, make sure he's up on time, he makes his meetings, phone calls, he eats, his bags are packed, he's prepared for the day.
Okay. And was there a time where you switched positions? Where you stopped doing that?
Yeah, I did that for about 3-4 years, and then I started being his tour DJ, and like when he did after parties or clubs, his DJ for that as well.
Okay. And when did you start becoming his tour manager?
I would say 2017, 2018, somewhere around there.
Okay. Now, in addition to the work you do for Rocky, have you held any other jobs?
Well, yeah, I DJ and I have a clothing brand.
Okay.
I DJ on my own. Yeah.
And how large are the venues that you DJ for?
It varies. I've done like festivals with a few thousand people. I've done smaller private events, like club events. It varies, but I've done international, domestic. I traveled for a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned that you met ASAP 12. Is that right?
Yeah, the first show I met Rakim.
And what's your relationship been like with 12?
It's been good. I would consider him a close friend.
And did you ever meet someone known as ASAP Rocky?
Yes.
And what's your relationship been like with him?
Over the years, it's always kind of been up and down. It would be times where like we were good, and then like a week later, he would text me or call me and say, "Fuck you, you're a bitch, you're a faggot." Oh, sorry.
Overall. You can answer.
He would text me and just be aggressive, like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you up when I see you, you're a bitch, you're a faggot." But then a week later say, "Hey, I miss you, we should hang out." Like, it's been like that ever since I've known him, really.
What's your understanding as to why it's been like that?
Your Honor, that's going to call for speculation. It's also relevant in perspective too.
What's your understanding as to why it's been that way?
What's your understanding? What?
What's your understanding as to why it's been that way?
The objection sustained.
Okay. Mr. Levin, do you have any experience with firearms?
Yes, I do.
And are you licensed to possess firearms?
Yes, I am.
When did you get licensed?
In 2020,
And why?
it was COVID times, and it was pretty crazy. There was a lot of like home invasions. There's a lot of people getting robbed. There's a lot of violence going on, and I just felt the need to have something in my house to protect myself.
Okay. And what firearms, if any, do you own?
I own a Smith & Wesson M&P 9. I own a Glock 42. I own a 12-gauge shotgun and an AR-15.
What caliber is the Glock 42?
It's .380.
Now, what do you do with those firearms?
Take them to the shooting range, keep them in my house. So,
Okay. And do you consider yourself knowledgeable about guns?
yeah, I would say so.
Are you personally aware whether or not Rocky's been the victim of prior violence?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And can you tell us about that knowledge?
I know he was jumped in a club in 2018. His face was cut.
Motion to strike the answer.
Hold on.
Sorry.
He can testify to what he has observed relating to that. If anything has been told to him, that would be an admissible hearsay.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, with that instruction, are you personally aware, anything that you observed in terms of past violence against Rocky?
Yeah, that I personally observed. He had some home invasions and a stalker.
And can you tell us about the stalker?
The stalker has actually gotten into his home before. I saw the security footage, and I've actually encountered her in person before, like just following me around.
Okay. And when's the last time there was an incident with the stalker?
It was Memorial Day of 21.
Around May of 2021?
I would say yes.
Now, do you know of any security measures that Rocky took in response to these incidents?
Yes, he started getting security guard to sit outside his house for 24 hours, and he started carrying a prop gun.
Yeah, I'm gonna object. Lax Foundation.
How do you know that? How do you know about the security company and the prop gun?
I physically saw them, both the prop gun and the security company. And
Objection withdrawn.
The objection's over. All right, the objection's over. Ask another question.
Thank you. So what's your understanding of what a prop gun is?
It's a prop gun is something that looks like a real gun. It doesn't fire a projectile. It makes the same noise. It looks like it. It's just, like I said, it doesn't actually shoot anything out of it.
Right. I think you just answered this, but were you personally involved in Rocky's decision to carry the prop gun?
Security, and I thought it would be a good idea.
Why?
Well, because of the prior violence, it's just a non-lethal form of self-defense.
Okay. Now, you said you worked with Rocky on music videos. Did any of them involve prop guns?
Yes.
Which was the most recent one?
DMV.
And where was that music video made?
It was made in New York.
Who were the main characters in that video?
Rakim.
Do you know where Rocky got the prop gun that he carried from?
Yes, he got it from that video shoot.
And how do you know that?
I was on set, and I handled it there.
Have you seen him take it?
I did see him take it, yes.
When was the DMV music video recorded?
July 2021.
So about a month or two after that May 2021 incident with the stalker?
Correct, yes.
Now, after the DMV video, how do you know that Rocky carried that prop gun?
I personally saw him, and I handled it.
Did you see Rocky with it on November 6th, 2021?
I did, yes.
Where were you when you saw him?
We were in Long Beach at ComplexCon. We had rehearsals that day for the show, which was the next day, the 7th. During rehearsals, he does like a dress rehearsal where he gets on stage and runs around and rehearses his performance. While he was running around, he handed me the prop gun to hold, so it was in safety.
And based on what you've seen and heard, did Rocky hide from his friends the fact that he carried that prop gun?
Not to his close friends, no.
And how do you know that?
It was known by everyone. I mean, it was just something that everyone knew. Like his close friend circle, everybody knew that he carried a prop gun.
Have you ever seen Rocky carry a real firearm in public?
Not in public, no.
Now, the prop gun that you've been talking about, what type is it, or was it?
It was a Glock 26.
And did you ever do anything to that prop gun to modify it?
Yes. I added this thing on the side of it called a clip draw, and what that is essentially it lays flush to the slide, and it allows you to put it in your waistband more securely, so if you have to carry it out. And then I also added a clear extended magazine on it.
And why did you put the clear extended magazine on it?
Well, the Glock 26 is a small, like, subcompact gun. The whole point of him carrying this was to make it look intimidating, to kind of scare people off that were going to try to harm him. So having the clear magazine and extended magazine made it look a little bit more intimidating.
Okay. To your knowledge, did there come a point where Rocky stopped carrying that prop gun?
Yes, it was after November
Now,
6th.
objection foundation in terms of how he knows this, do we get the foundation?
How do you know?
Oh, because I was part of the decision. He gave it to me. He gave it to me after.
Objection's overruled. Thank you.
And why was that decision made?
That's gonna call for speculation unless there's first-hand knowledge.
Overruled.
The decision was made because, like I said, he carried it to deter violence, and then on November 6th, after the incident, it obviously didn't work, and he decided to just get actual armed security. He didn't want to carry it anymore.
Do you know what happened to that prop gun?
Yes, I brought it back to New York.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so after he gave it back to me, January, I believe, of next year, 2022, I flew back to New York with it, and I gave it to the co-director that we got it from.
When you said you gave it to him in New York, how did you get to New York with the prop gun?
Oh, we took a private jet.
Now, do you know if Rocky was licensed to possess firearms in 2021?
That's gonna, again, call for hearsay.
Sustain. Do you know if Rocky owned firearms in 2021?
And that's also a last foundational way to ask. Ask him what he knows, what he's seen, and
You can answer.
Yes, he did.
And what firearms did he own?
It was a Desert Eagle 44 Magnum and an AR-10 rifle.
And are they designed to accommodate 9mm caliber ammunition?
No, they're not.
Have you ever been to Rocky's home?
Yes,
How often?
many times.
And have you ever seen firearms ammunition?
Yes.
Did you ever plan on going to a shooting range with Rocky?
Yeah, we did. It was in the summertime of 21, I would say July, August, somewhere around there.
And what preparations did you make in order to go?
So I came to his place first with my both of my pistols, my handguns. And while we were there, I was oiling the guns up and loading the magazines, and also calling around the shooting ranges to try to secure like a private area, a private room.
And why did you do that? Why were you looking for a private room?
Well, because of who he is, he's a celebrity, and you know, we just didn't want to cause a commotion going there. And usually when we go out places, we do try to get a private room. Like,
Okay. In this instance, did you actually end up going to the shooting range?
no, we couldn't secure anything. Everything was booked out, or just nothing was available that day.
Okay. So what did you do instead?
Just hung out at this place. We had a couple drinks, talked, bullshit.
Okay. Did you go home that night?
I did.
And did you bring your weapons and ammunition back with you?
I did not.
Why not?
Because I had a couple drinks. I didn't think it'd be wise to travel with my firearms.
Okay. Did you go back to Rocky's house to retrieve your belongings at some point?
Yeah, the next day I did.
And at that time, did you take everything with you?
I took everything except for one magazine. It was a Glock 43 magazine.
Okay. Now, do you own a Glock 43?
I did not.
All right. So why did you have a Glock 43 magazine?
So when I purchased my Glock 42, and I was at the gun shop buying accessories for it, more magazines, I had mistakenly grabbed the Glock 43 magazine. When you're in the store, everything is like right next to each other. So it's the Glock section, it's all of the list, the 17, 19, all the accessories. They were right next to each other, and I grabbed it mistakenly, and I didn't realize until that day that I had mistakenly grabbed it.
And I want to show you what's in evidence is Exhibit 40. People's Exhibit 40. 40B. Direct your attention to this right here.
Yes.
For the record, he's pointing to what appears to be a handgun magazine in the middle of the photo, or other magazines and rounds in the video. Is that correct, Your Honor?
That's accurate.
Okay, it's 11. I just pointed to. What is that?
That's my Glock 43 magazine.
Was this magazine ever used?
No.
Can you tell that from looking at the picture?
Personally, I guess, because I mean, I own firearms and I own other magazines. Usually it has wear marks on the side of it from going in and out of the pistol or firearm. So that one has nothing on it. It's clearly brand new. It's just loaded.
All right, I want to show you what's in evidence of People's Exhibit 42.
You don't have to take them all out. We'll stipulate some numbers if you like.
Let's do this. Can you zoom in on it? Away. Okay. Why don't we do this? Yeah. So I want you to take a look at this. Cartridge. Tell me if you recognize that.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a 6-hour 9mm cartridge. It's mine.
Is that the ammunition that you left at Rocky's house?
Correct, yes.
The one that, excuse me, ammunition that was contained in that magazine that we just saw?
That's correct.
By the way, going back to the magazine, when you realized it was the wrong one, when you realized it was the wrong one, why didn't you return it?
It's a $20 magazine. It would have cost more in gas to go there back and forth in my time.
Okay. All right, I want to show you what's in evidence is Defense Exhibit CC. Okay. Ms. Levin, do you see the two shell casings on the right?
Yes.
Can you see the imprint on the bottom of those shell casings? Can you make it out?
Yes.
Okay. And what do they say? What's the imprint?
FC 9mm Luger.
Okay. Can you tell us what brand these casings are?
That's Federal.
Okay. And the cartridges on the left, are those the cartridges that you just saw?
Yeah, the one you just handed me.
Okay. That's the 9mm ammunition that you left in Rocky's house?
Correct.
Okay. And what brand is that?
SIG 6-hour.
All right. So these 9mm shell casings on the right, the same brand as your 9mm ammunition on the left.
They're not.
Okay, I don't have anything further.
Look.
Mr. Levin, as you sit here today, do you consider yourself to be an unbiased witness?
Yes, I do.
So do you agree that you come in to your testimony today looking at the defendant as basically a brother, correct?
Yes.
And would you agree that you do not want to see him convicted in this case, agreed?
Well, I've already he's facing 24 years. I don't want to see him go to jail for 24 years.
Your Honor, please admonish the jury that that is an incorrect statement.
Sustain. Ask the question.
Did you not understand the question that I asked?
Can you please rephrase it?
So I'm going to ask you going forward, sir. I want you to answer the question I asked, and only that question, and not add anything that you want to add. The attorney who called you will have a chance to get up here on redirect and to ask you anything that he wants to ask. Do you understand that?
Yes, I apologize. Can you please rephrase it?
My question is, isn't it true, sir, that whether or not the defendant committed this crime or not, you do not want him to be convicted, do you?
I believe in the judicial system. Anyone who's committed a crime and is guilty and found guilty by a jury should pay for their crime.
I'm going to ask you again, sir. Given your close relationship with the defendant, isn't it true that you do not want him to be convicted in this case? Yes or no?
I can't really answer that. I don't know the details, full details of the case. I can't accurately answer that. I'm sorry.
You would agree that you have a, in addition to your personal relationship, you have a financial relationship with the defendant, correct?
Not significant.
Well, wait a minute. You're his tour manager, correct?
Yeah, the past 2-3 years, he barely toured.
Well, if he tours, would you expect to be the tour manager?
When he tours, yes.
And when he tours, that can be very financially lucrative for the defendant and for anybody else who is associated with him, correct?
Sure, yeah.
So you would agree, sir, that you have a financial interest in the defendant being able to continue to tour where you can be his tour manager. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. Can you ask it again? Threw me off.
Sure. Would you agree that you have a future financial interest in the defendant being able to perform and tour?
Yes, but it's not the majority of my income.
I want to ask you, when did you first speak to the defense in this case?
In August of 2024.
So you're saying the very first time that you spoke to the defendant's lawyers was nearly 3 years after the incident?
That's correct.
Had you spoken to the defendant about this incident prior to that time?
Yeah.
Had you spoken to him numerous times about it?
More than once? Sure, yeah.
So we're going to go back to the very beginning. When did you first hear about this incident on November 6, 2022?
The next day?
And did you talk to the defendant about it?
Yes.
And at that point in time, did he tell you that he had pulled a prop gun on Relly?
Yes, he explained to me the situation of what happened on the night of November 6th.
And at that point in time, were you aware that Relly was already contacting the defendant and other members of his entourage, for lack of a better word, and basically demanding money?
I don't recall that specifically.
You became aware near the time of the incident that Relly wanted money, correct?
I can't recall that specifically. No, I know about the incident, but I don't know. He didn't contact me about wanting any money. So I don't know. I can't recall specifically if he did that.
Let me ask you something. Did you become aware at some point in time that Relly wanted money?
Yeah.
And did you become aware of that from the defendant?
To be honest, I think I became aware of it when everything came out in the media.
Wait, so you're saying you never had a conversation with the defendant back near this, when this event happened, about the victim wanting a bunch of money from him?
Like I said, sir, to be honest, I can't recall that specific conversation.
I'm not asking a specific conversation. I'm asking, did you have any conversation with the defendant who you described as your brother, a fellow ASAP, the person who you were his personal assistant? Did you have any conversation with him near the time of this event about what happened, the fact that Relly wanted money for it?
When you say the fact that Relly wanted money, like I said, I can't recall if we specifically spoke about that right around the time of the event.
When did you become aware that Relly wanted money?
I told you, I don't specifically recall, but I believe it may have been around when everything came out in the media.
And when you say everything coming out in the media, do you mean...
When the defendant was arrested.
And that's going to be in 2022, is that correct?
In April, I believe, yes.
Sustain.
On what grounds?
It's not relevant what he sees on that piece of paper.
Did you tell them specifically about the information of viewing video of home invasions during your interviews? Tell them that.
Again, this is 6, 7 months ago. I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no, and I don't feel confident. I don't want to misspeak. I don't recall, sir. I'm sorry.
What about 2 weeks ago in January when you spoke to them? Did you talk to them about it then?
I believe so, yes.
Did you, sir, ever mention anything to them in any of your interviews about going to a shooting range or trying to go to a shooting range? The incident you just discussed on direct, did you tell them about that?
About the shooting range?
Yes.
Yes.
I want you to take a look and tell me if you see any mention of a shooting range in your statement.
Objection, irrelevant. You're right to say objection.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Alex.
The question, Your Honor, I've asked him, he testified on direct regarding the shooting range incident, not being able to go there, what happened, how he went to the house, how the 9mm magazine was found.
Right. What about that?
I'm asking him, he said, yes, I told them that information. I'm asking him, do you see that information in your statement?
The objections are, it's irrelevant what he sees on that piece of paper.
When I buy my firearms, I buy them at a licensed dealer, yes.
And you were aware, sir, before you ever took the stand today, you were aware that the Glock 43 magazine that you allegedly gave to the defendant,
I didn't give it to him. I left it at his
that
house.
you left there.
Yes.
You were aware, sir, that you did not have a registered gun that would fit that magazine, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And in fact, isn't it true, Mr. Levin, that you understood that because you did not have a registered gun that would fit that magazine, that you had to come up with a story to explain how it was that not only you left a magazine at the defendant's house without a firearm to go with it, but also why you had that magazine in the first place. Is that correct?
I did not say,
Argument.
It's cross-examination.
I didn't have to come up with a story as the truth.
And would you agree, I want to give you the following scenario. An individual has a prop gun in their possession. Somebody threatens them. The person who has the prop gun takes out that prop gun. Would you agree, Mr. Levin, that in such a scenario, if the individual they pull the prop gun on, at that point in time, if that person does not know it's a prop gun, that when the individual pulling the prop gun is pulling it out, if the other person has a real gun, the person with the prop gun is going to be in trouble. Would you agree?
Objection, Your Honor. It's a speculative, hypothetical.
If someone's got a prop gun and they run up against somebody with a real gun, and that person with the real gun sees that prop gun being pulled on them, you would agree that in that situation, based on what you know about firearms, that the person with the prop gun is likely going to get shot.
Objection, same one.
I want to give you a scenario, sir. You carry firearms, correct?
That's not correct. I do not carry, I'm not licensed to carry a firearm in public.
You're in your house. You're in your home. You have multiple firearms, correct?
Correct.
Somebody comes in that you don't know, and they have a prop gun. But you don't know it's a prop gun. They just pull a gun on you. Would you agree, sir, that when someone pulls a gun on you, you're going to treat that as if it is a real firearm?
I mean, it kind of, it depends on like this. There's other factors in the scenario that I would need to like know. I can't just really speak on that just like that.
So,
well, no. So the prop gun, like I said, it makes a loud noise, so that's going to draw attention and possibly draw police to come. So if he's beating up ills and nothing is going, and no, like he's not stopping, nothing's like stopping him, that loud noise is going to draw a lot of attention from all people around, and it's going to help deter the situation.
have you seen the video involving this incident?
I saw the one that was on TMZ when he first got arrested, whenever it was posted.
So how many times have you seen the video?
Maybe twice.
You're saying in 3+ years since this incident involving your brother, one of your best friends, a man you work for, that you have only looked at the video of this charged crime a couple of times.
Yes.
Where that gun is today?
Specifically, no. Like I said, when I went to New York, I gave it back to him.
Well, so since you became involved, since you've known about where that gun went, since you gave it back, at some point in time, did you become aware that, you know what, the fact that it's a prop gun is important in this case?
Yes.
And you understand that if it's a prop gun, the defendant cannot be guilty of the charges because it's not a real gun. You understand that, correct?
That's correct. It's a problem.
So what efforts did you make in the last 3 years to try to get that prop gun back so that you could demonstrate, hey, my brother, he didn't do this crime? Did you make any efforts?
Yeah, I asked the co-director if he had it still, and he doesn't.
When did you ask him?
Specifically, I don't remember, sir.
Now, isn't it true, sir, that you testified you returned it in January of 2022?
That's correct, yes.
Did it seem strange to you that you were returning a gun?
A prop gun.
Huh?
A prop gun?
Is a prop gun a gun?
It's a prop gun.
So when I say gun, you don't need to correct me.
Okay.
When you returned the gun, in January of 2022, by that time, you were aware that your friend Rocky was potentially going to be getting in some trouble as it relates to that incident, correct?
No, I was not aware of that.
So, but you certainly knew 3 months later in April, correct?
Yes, when he got arrested, I knew he was...
And you knew that day, as soon as you heard about it, you knew, oh my God, I've got information, that gun's not real, correct? You knew that day.
Yes.
Did you go get the gun?
I was in LA. The gun, like I said, I gave it to the director in New York in January.
Did you make an effort to try to get the gun?
I told you I contacted him to see if he still had it.
When did you contact him?
And again, I don't recall the exact date, sir. This is 3 years ago.
Isn't it true, sir, that you didn't contact him for more than a year?
Sir, to be honest, I don't know the exact date I contacted him.
Well, let me ask you something, sir. Wouldn't you have instantly, the day you heard about the defendant getting arrested, wouldn't you have jumped on a plane to get back there and find that prop gun that...
Sir, I contacted the director, I don't know exactly when, to see if he had it, and he doesn't have it anymore.
And so you just did you ask him what he did with it?
Yes.
Did you investigate further once he told you?
No, I didn't. I mean, he doesn't have it anymore. I don't know which one is it. I didn't know that this was going to be, it was going to a criminal case until that day.
So when it was that day and the detective is there, you wouldn't have had to call him, you wouldn't have had to go down there. He's right there, and you could have told him it was a prop gun. You could have done that, correct?
I didn't know the details of everything that was going on at that time, sir. I didn't know what was...
Listen to my question. Could you have told the detective on that day it was a prop gun, it wasn't real? Could you have done that?
When I was speaking to the detective,
Yes.
I could have told him, but I didn't have any details of what was going on, sir. It wasn't, at that time, I
Most
didn't
is
know.
right, everything after yes. Did you tell him it was a prop gun?
Did I tell him it was a prop gun on that day?
Yes.
No.
The ammunition. How is it that that magazine was full of 9mm ammunition?
I also own a Smith & Wesson M&P 9, which is 9mm. I brought both of my handguns that day, so I was loading up my Smith & Wesson magazines with 9mm and my... I'm so sorry, I'm going too fast. I was loading up my Smith & Wesson magazines with 9mm and my Glock 42 magazines with 380. So I had both ammunitions on that day.
Now, you're well aware that a Glock magazine looks nothing like a Smith & Wesson magazine, correct?
Yeah, correct.
They look nothing alike, correct?
That's correct.
So my question is, how is it that that Glock magazine, which you thought was to hold .380 ammunition, ended up being loaded with 9mm ammunition? How did that happen?
When I realized the 380 didn't fit, I tried the 9mm in there, and it fit. And then I further inspected it and realized it was a 43 magazine.
So, by the way, so you're telling me you then needed to figure out what kind of magazine it was. And so you decided to put a 9mm round inside the magazine, correct?
Yes.
So, sir, as soon as you put one 9mm round in the magazine, you know it's not for a 380. Why is it fully loaded with approximately 6 rounds of ammunition? A full Glock 43 magazine, full 9mm ammo.
Because after we realized we weren't going to the gun range, and I packed everything up, I was just fidgeting with it. At that time, I had just first got guns, and sometimes I would sit there and I would load it and unload magazines just fidgeting around.
So, you loaded a magazine for a gun you didn't have, with ammunition you didn't know went into it, and then when it fit, you fully loaded it all the way. Is that your testimony?
Yes,
Because you were, quote, fidgeting. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Does that sound reasonable to you?
Objection, argument. Sustained.
Isn't it true that the reason that that 9mm magazine was at the defendant's house was because he had a 9mm firearm, a Glock 43, that he used in this shooting of Relly, and that was simply the second magazine that he forgot to get rid of? Isn't that what happened, sir?
No,
And did you notice any injuries on Ills?
not that I can see.
What do you think? You know Relly, correct?
Yes,
Would you describe Relly in terms of his physical strength as, kind of a weakling, medium, or pretty strong dude?
no, I would consider him pretty strong.
And I want you to assume that he had punched somebody with a fist in their face area 3 times. Knowing Relly as you do, would you expect that an individual will receive injuries from that, since you know Relly?
Not necessarily. I can't say that. I've seen boxers before get punched in the face multiple times and look fine. Like, I guess it just depends on the person.
You didn't see Ills with any injuries, though, the night of November 7th, did you?
I wasn't studying his face, but I didn't see any visible injuries. Injuries.
If he would have been bleeding, do you think you would have seen that?
Bleeding that day. Or bleeding that day.
Bleeding.
Objection.
Yes. If he would have been bleeding on November 7th,
He's going to clarify.
if you were bleeding on November 7th, do you think you would have seen it?
Not necessarily.
You were with Ills, the defendant, and 12E on November 7th, correct?
Correct.
You spoke to the defendant on November 6th after the incident, correct?
I don't know if it was after the incident or the next day, but it was shortly after, yeah, around that time.
When you spoke to him, did he tell you that Relly beat the hell out of Ills?
I don't know if he used those exact words, but they got into an altercation, yes.
What did he tell you specifically about the altercation with Ills?
This is 4 years ago. I can't remember specific word for word, but I was told that he was beating up Ills.
Did you reveal that in any statement you gave?
I wasn't there that night, so I wasn't really asked about what happened that night.
So you're telling me the defense didn't ask you, what did Rocky tell you about what happened that night? They never asked you that?
To be honest, in August, they didn't ask me that. Like I said, I wasn't there that night, so it's really not, I can't really accurately speak on what happened.
Because you wouldn't know. I'm asking you, what did he tell you? So I want to know, what did he specifically tell you about why he brought a prop gun to meet with his friend Relly?
He didn't specifically say he brought it to meet with Relly. Whenever he would leave the house without security, he would bring it with him.
And you're aware of that because you had counseled him to do that, is that correct?
I didn't counsel him to do that. It was just something that he did. It was common knowledge.
I thought you told me that you and the security guy sat down with him and said, hey,
Yeah, we
listen.
thought it would be a good idea, yes. So I don't know if that's counseling him to do it. I mean, maybe I just misunderstanding the word, but yes, me and security at the time, we had thought it was a good idea for him to carry it, And that's what, to my knowledge, that's why he was carrying it. When he would leave the house, if he didn't have the security with him, he would carry that.
Are you aware that we called that individual this morning and spoke to him?
Yes.
And it's your testimony that that individual, if asked, what happened to the gun, his response would have been, I have no idea.
Objection, Your Honor. It's irrelevant. Statute of limitations.
I can play it, Your
Stand.
Honor, if you'd like. The court made certain rulings.
The objection is sustained. Do you recall the other day I talked about speaking objections, arguing?
I do.
Remember that? Do you remember that?
I do.
All right, I'm keeping track of every speaking objection that is made, every argument with the witness, argument with me. I'm keeping track of all that. He made an objection. I sustained it. Go on, to the next question. He's already answered the question. He doesn't know.
No, that's not what I asked, Your Honor.
Read it back.
Have you asked this individual directly for the name of the person that he gave the gun
All right,
to?
no, that's fair.
Objection, Your Honor. This states the testimony. He didn't say he gave.
Over.
Have you asked him for the name of the person that you gave it to?
That, wait, that is not what he has testified to.
Your Honor, he testified.
He said he didn't give it to, he gave it to the person who he got it from.
And I've asked him if he asked the person that he gave it to.
Oh, I see, okay, all right, I got the question, all right.
Have you asked the person that you gave it to the name of the person that he gave the gun to?
I don't, I asked him if he still had it, and he said no. I didn't ask him, he didn't, when I spoke to him about it, he didn't know where it went. So I didn't ask him who he gave it to, because I wasn't aware he gave it to anybody.
But, so when he said no, you didn't ask any further question or make any further effort to find out where the gun was. Is that
I
correct?
asked him if we could get it back, and he said no, it was gone.
Did you ask him any further questions? Yes or no?
No. Well, because when we realized we couldn't go to the shooting range, I packed up my bag, and I left the Glock 43 magazine out while we were drinking and just hanging out. That's when I was fidgeting around with it. The next day when I went to go pick up my stuff, I just grabbed the bag, and I didn't grab the magazine because it was separate from my bag.
In here, just to help Rocky. Wouldn't you have said, yeah, if he told me immediately
Leading
after?
and speculation both.
He gets to finish the question.
Even if it's leading?
He gets to finish the question. Finish the question.
Hey, you were coming in here just to help Rocky. Would you have answered his question that yes, Rocky told you immediately after the incident that Relly was trying to extort him?
Leading and speculation, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you were asked about why you didn't come forward and tell the prosecutors and the detectives that it was a prop gun. Are you aware that Rocky told his lawyers from the outset that it was a prop
Objection,
gun?
that's been called for
And his lawyers
speculation.
were
And
dealing
it's
with
an
the
improper
prosecution?
question.
Stop. It is. It calls for hearsay, and it's irrelevant. The objection sustained. Ask another question.
Do you know what conversations Rocky's had with his lawyers? about
Objection,
prop gun?
relevance, also it's been called for hearsay.
Okay.
Motion to direct the counsel not to ask any questions in this line.
You feel a question is objectionable, lodge an objection. I'm not going to
Any-
tell any lawyer how to ask questions.
Do you see any scratches on that at all?
Can I touch it?
Yeah, please.
No, it looks brand new.
Has it ever been used?
That's been called for speculation.
Sustained.
How's it look to you?
It looks unused and brand new.
Now, you were asked about the ASAP ills on cross-examination. Do you know the condition of ills today?
From my knowledge, it's unreal.
Objection, that's been called for speculation and hearsay.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking too
Over.
fast.
Running back to foundation.
Now, you were asked about what Rocky told you about the incident repeatedly. Did Rocky tell you about it immediately after it happened?
Yes.
And was this an everyday topic of discussion in your life?
The incident?
Yeah.
No.
And do you know whether Rocky was told by his lawyers after his arrest
Objection.
not to discuss the
Objection.
incident.
Sustained.
Your Honor, can the jury be instructed to ignore that question has been asked 3 times?
Questions are not evidence. All right. Mr. Siegel, I don't want you to ask any more questions about conversations that you or Mr. Tacopina had with your client.
Okay,
No
fair
more
enough.
questions about that.
I have no more questions on anything else. Finished. Thank you
All right.
very much.
Anything?
Thank you very much.
Good, thanks.
Mr. Lewin? Wait, whoa,
I apologize. I'm sorry.
hold
So
on.
sorry. So sorry.
You have anything?
No, I do not. Subject to
Sorry.
recall.
All right, you can leave for now, but if you're notified to return, you must do so.
Understood.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. I'm briefly, I just following on what we've discussed. If hypothetically, or not hypothetically, if he chooses not to testify tomorrow, let you know that. One witness we have should be a minute long. Is that if we could get the instructions done tonight or email us tonight, is there a reason we wouldn't do the first summation tomorrow? Because that means we'll then go on to next week. I mean, no, till Friday, the summation.
Thursday.
Yeah. Not if you do all three of them in one day.
We have Thursday and Friday.
Right, so that means the jury is the next Monday.
You know, then we get, here's the problem, Joe, is we don't, the problem for us is we have to pretend tonight or prepare tonight as if he is testifying tomorrow. That is a ton of work. You want time to be able to discuss with him about him being able to testify. We're in a position, we've got to do instructions, do his cross-examination, and then do our argument.
I'm not going to force anybody to argue when they don't feel that they are arguing. If Mr. Tacopina, if Mr. Krislovic feels that he's in a position to make his opening argument tomorrow, then he's welcome to do it. However, if he feels that he needs some time to do it, to get his thoughts together, then he can have that time, and the arguments will be on Thursday. But I need the jury instructions, and I want you to send them to defense counsel, and when you come in tomorrow morning, I'd like to get a copy. And also full self-defense.
Yes, I did
Defense
all that.
matters.
I'm almost done with the first draft of it, so I will email everyone tonight.
Very good.
And then,
Okay, anything else?
How long does your charge take?
How long what?
The instructions, charge.
How long does it take you to read them? No, less than an hour. With this case, probably 40 minutes.
If he does not, that's probably done by 11.
Well, we're starting at 10.
Yeah.
You're going to call one. It's possible, but I highly doubt it.
All right.
But if worst scenario, we should be done early in the afternoon with jury instruction.
I'll bet you money we'll get past 11. If he does not. Obviously, it's all different. If we're going to have a discussion right now, but.
All right.
Quiet.
Mr. Wood, anything for the record? Mr. Brzovic, anything for the record? All right, we'll see everybody at 10 o'clock. We're out.
See you.